Hello, hello, hello to another video of our guiding series about Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn hacking. Last time we looked at how to create character units. I said like a short video, but it actually was like 18 minutes long. Um, so sorry about that. I think it will repeat itself since I'm always trying to explain so much, but I hope it's really helpful for you to learn and also maybe not repeat errors that I have done in hacking before. Um, Today we want to look at how to make reinforcements. This is where we need Paragon and also your preferred method for script editing. So first and foremost, we start with Paragon. And last time we created Paterino as a character and use it as an example for, yeah, for our little like small guiding hack that we are doing. But will not be playable since it's completely nonsense what we are doing or adding to the game. But let me open up the project. So Paragon, open up Paragon. So Radiant Dawn, I open it on a different tab so we don't have the other issue that we had like a moment ago. We want to go actually in one specific field for this. It's in multis and it's called Dispos. And what Dispos does, it loads basically map data or like the unit data of maps. And I always start to work from there because there's like some good work practices that should be reconsidered when you're doing Fire Emblem hacking or do like custom things for the game. It will now ask you what specifically you want to edit. You find like the battle map data here, but also like event data from event maps. For our case, we want to work on the first chapter, or like the prologue chapter of Act 1. We find like the B map 00000, and we find it a couple of times, like a C, H, and N that corresponds to like hard mode and normal mode as an example. And then we have 0101, and that's our prologue we want to seek out. And since I want to do an edit on hard mode, or like I have to rephrase myself because it's always a bit confusing with a Japanese version. We have easy, normal, and hard mode. But if we do a normal mode edit on the Dispos, it will only correspond on the Western easy mode. So if we now go into the Dispos hard mode, we will do edits for normal hard mode on the Western version. Just to make it clear, so there's no confusion about that. So let us do edits for normal and hard mode. So I open up the dispos_h. I think that didn't really open up correctly. Dang it. I think this will be a common issue with my zoomed in monitor right now. But it doesn't like to open it up like that. Does it again? No, I have to restart for a second. Well, not my system, but Paragon. But it goes really fast. It's not an issue. We just go for the same path, basically. Let me open up Dispos. Wonderful. So we find now the unit data of the prologue chapter. We have Mikata that says, hey, here's Mikaya and here's Edward. Then we have Taki, that's for the enemies usually. And then we have like a reinforcement where Leonardo is inside. So we want to do a new reinforcement that is basically Paterino. And for that, it's always best practice to do a new reinforcement overall. It's also really important that you don't make huge reinforcements. Like you want maybe to have reinforcements on the left side, on the right side, but also on the bottom side on the same turn. And I want to put all the units in the same reinforcement that is like 12 units. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Separate them, since there is like a actually visualization for that, where the camera shifts to the reinforcement that joins. And if you have like a left side reinforcement, it will then hover over to the left side, shows that the units are coming onto the map. And then you do the next one and the next one after. So what we have to do now is just press add. I like just to copy the naming from the previous one and change it with a snappy name that really tells you, hey, this is the reinforcement I want. You always have to watch out. There's like a limit for characters, but just naming it for it's like for a character right now, you can just write it in like how I did it. So we have a label for that, so we can like pull this data later on out by calling it in the script. And it's also a bit recognizable since I will know it's Paterino. When we have the unknown data. The unknown data is actually your army. What the unit is currently basically assigned to. Like, not the unit army for the acts, but the affiliation of a character right now. So, we could take the enemy side, the Pugu Bandits, that is here, the 0E. You will notice here is 0711. And it's also up here the case, which basically tells the this field, hey, units in here are from the Dawn Brigade. So Paterino will be a playable, so we will assign the Dawn Brigade. Next thing is we press add here to create an item to make a character. We have now the bit flags. The bit flags is basically telling the game, hey, for this map, this is the unique ID for the character. You should not repeat them, and you should always check the latest reinforcement that has been put on the map, since there it's written what the hex value is. It usually starts with like 17. You can just leave it like that. And for Paterino, we would just have to increase the hex data from, or like the hex number from 7A to 7B. It would then go to the next character with C, D, E, F. Then the 16 values are complete for 7. Then you start with 8, 0, and then go up to F again. So the second is a bit obscure. Cannot really tell that much about it, like, but the last value we can talk about a bit. The 84 is usually often used for new characters that get their character bases and the character class stats. We can look at Pugo. He has like 4C that tells the game, hey, I am a commanding unit, and get my stats specifically, like also like combined in this case. There's also like CC that tells, hey, my character is a commanding unit. And there's also like 40 that tells, hey, I want the specific character data that already exists. Usually the 48 is like, write me the character data, please. You will figure it out. You can check out different characters in the game for that. We will probably should also work on a list in the future about that, what kind of values exist and what they do, because I also don't know them from my head all the time. I always checked some Dispos data, and it also has been a long while since I worked in it. Now we choose the character. We have created Paterino. I am actually so dumb. I didn't create it, Paterino. I forgot about it to save it from the last time. But it's not a big issue. I could do it, repeat it right now, but we would just take a different character. We can just say we want Riz on the first map. We take Riz for that. And now we decide the character class. So we said before we wanted to make a bishop. In the character tab, it was just visualization. It's not, for the game, completely uninteresting. Here in the Dispos, we decide the final class for the character. So even if Riz is a bishop in the character tab, but if I write down he's a sword master here, then he will get the sword master class instead. But let's make him a fire sage instead. The next one is the coordinates. We will do it in a different module of Paragon, because it's we can use the map function for that. Now we decide the starting level. The starting level will be decided what value is higher, either in the Dispos here or in the character tab. In the character tab, we decided for my previous entry that we did that the characters should be level 10. And if I write down level 2 here, it will say, okay, the character tab is higher, we will take the level 10. So, but if I write 15 in here, then the character starts on level 15 instead. The next thing is we can decide what the characters basically allied to. Is it a player unit, is it an enemy unit, ally unit, or a partner unit? Ally are the green units, partner units are the yellow units. So we say he's a player unit. Starting transform is the starting gauge for the character. Has been used a lot for enemies. So check out, play around with it for your Lagoose enemies, or for also maybe for your playables if you want to have them start out with more gauge on the joining chapter. Unknown 2 is basically the order how an enemy should act. You tell the game in what order they should start. 0-0 is the lowest order. All characters, like they will work on AI, will act first if they have 0-0. Then on 0-1, all characters after that have the 0-1 value act then, and so on. When the 0-2 characters, 0-3 characters, so it can automate or like make the specific maps work not that much organically, but more scripted in this way. It's something I like to use for the Boulder chapter, where Micaiah lays down the trap for Sanaki. You can kind of tell like what boulder should be moved by the NPCs first, actually, and you can make some really funny events. The next thing is the Unknown 3. That's where you can like make some slight adjustments for units to increase values like HP, strength, like through the Dispos. I still recommend you to do it on the characters tab, because if you do it on two sides, it's a bit annoying, specifically for joining characters that are playable. If you play with playable enemy characters, it's a different story, since you sometimes just reuse the same character, but you want them to have like some different stats, because maybe an enemy is way up north of a map where the objective for the map is, and there's like an enemy that is on the bottom side of the map, and you want them to have like some difference in stats. You go by the first value is HP, the second value is strength, magic, skill, speed, and so on. Not all values correspond to something specific. I think there's like still con and movement, maybe. I haven't tested that much about it. I usually just use it for the stats. I haven't played around with that much, but you can just say if you want to increase the HP by 11, you have to think about hex data, like hexadecimal numbers again. So it ends with 9, and then you have to say, okay, A and B. So we reach 11. So you write B down. So the character starts out with plus 11 HP. And the same can we do with strength. The character should start with 5 more strength. The next one is affinity. We can just write down invalid, because we use the affinity from the character tab specifically. The next thing we can do is deciding, hey, we want to choose weapons. What kind of weapons should the character have? What kinds of items should he have? And we can also assign skills onto the character right here, right now. So since he is a fire sage, let's give him like a fire tome. For that, we can check the items tab in Paragon. You can search for the item up here. So we have a fire tome. That is the IID fire. Take that, can just copy paste it over. If you know them from heart, you can do it as well. And we can just give it to him like that when it's a normal item. We can also say /L for locking the item on the character. That's something used for the Black Knight chapter where he defends Micaiah, where Micaiah has the solo mission. So you're not able to take away the Elendite, because the Elendite is later on still used, or you get it later on, and it shouldn't be locked on any character. So they do it artificially for the chapter, for the Black Knight, by assigning him the Alendite and giving the lock on it. But there's also /D for drop. So it makes the item droppable, specifically important for enemies. So you see you have like 4 options for weapons and 3 options for items. You can still like juggle around with it. You can write down a fire tome, then a vulnerary, then a herb, and then 4 more fire tomes. It's still the same inventory. So don't worry about that. The next thing is skills. If you have playables, always be reminded, do it mostly in the character tab, is my recommendation. But you can also do it here if you want to have like some maybe enemies or like specific enemies on the map, but you want to give like a specific skill. Like something that is used quite often is maybe like the SID boss, to give the character the boss tag, also giving him more experience. You can also do like give him SID lucky, that's like the fortune skill. Now the fortune skill could also be taken off of a character, but what you can also do is say /F for fixing the skill on the character, so the skill cannot be taken off. And down the skills we find AI choices. For a playable character, completely uninteresting, but for an enemy character, we can look into the techie and look at it, what options we have. We have like all unit attack 100 and the sequence nearest unit move. No heal, since there's also no healing options. There's all kinds of them. What I recommend, check out the different enemies on different maps, and then I get a picture what kinds of AI options exist that you like to use. Pugu also has like a different one. This one says he wants to charge you, he wants to go to the nearest unit, and he does it from the get-go. Pugu says he's not moving, but he has the all-unit attack AI that says, okay, if an enemy is in my attack range, I will charge him. I will then attack him. There's like also like the no move attack 100. But Daisy tells the game, this character is stationary, shouldn't be moving at all, but should attack anyone who's like around him. So we have done the dispos. The next thing you do is go back to the main menu here and press on file and save. Something I haven't done for the character spotlight just a moment ago. And we can close the dispos. Just click a couple times save just to be sure. It's something I maybe have forgotten in the past and then had some mix-ups, because then you want also to press on file and do a reload of Paragon. You can say here file reload, do it please. I really recommend it, because the next thing we want to do is go to maps. It's like the top left from the core data. If you open up maps and you have this boss open most of the time, it uses the same data kinda, and that can really get you some data loss sometimes, because it only saves from one end. It will have some conflictions with it. So now we have like created basically the reinforcement. We are good to go to now say we go to bmap 101 and check out Fire Sage Riz. We can already see him on the top left. Let's make this one a bit smaller. He's here. Let's pull him and put him down here. The game also tells us, hey, we have the bmap 1010 Padrino _H. In normal mode, or like for easy mode, we don't find it. And for the comment file, we also see only event things. But for right now, we have put him here. It updates the coordinates. So that's done. That's why I like to do it afterwards with a mapping. It's also a lot easier to do the enemy AI adjustments, because if you know, like, I want to see, there was this one specific unit, I think it was the pitfall map. There was the boss that is not moving. He has the no move attack AI. Yeah, and you can just copy it over. If you know Radiant Dawn pretty well, you can find like AIs Maybe you write them down yourself, unlike me, who's always coming back to it after a while. So this is definitely a plus side. So we have added Riz on the first map. He's currently not reinforcing yet. That's something we have to do with scripting now. But yeah, we have him in the game data now. So you can close the map, save everything again, just to be sure. Save. The next thing we want to do is go to Visual Studio. And yeah, we find ourselves now on the C0101. That's something we have already decompiled from the scripting video. If you don't know how it's done, please check that video out. It really helps you out to get started about scripting. It's the second one in the series. So we go to script compressed, where I have all my compressed data and also the EXL file, which are decompressed actually. And what we want to do now is create the event where Riz is reinforcing. You can, if you don't know things, you can always go back and say, hey, I want to check out there was the Leonardo reinforcement, how it's written. Maybe let's check it out. Here's some Anon FN 11 events that could also have been named as a function, as a definition, more like Leonardo reinforcement, to be absolutely clear. But Vanilla Radiant Dawn uses Anon a lot. And there's like this boss rank. So we copy it over and we will make it happen on the turn 1 that I've already put in here for the next guide that we want to do. The unit set value that has been requested. We would just copy it over to this boss rank. If you know naturally the commands yourself, you can just write it down. It also has some auto completion. If we press enter and write down dispos, we find like multiple options, like dispos rank and dispos weight. For that, it's really cool to have all of them available, since it will read multiple files what options are basically available. Always make sure to write the semicolon at the end. And since we were reinforcing with Riz, that was put now into this bmap 0101 underscore Pedorino, we would now be able to make him as a reinforcement. But since he's currently in hard mode or normal mode only reinforcement, we should definitely take some inspiration here from the Leonardo reinforcement, where he joins on different turns. We can just do it again with a copy. And dang it. So, that's the wrong one. So, all right, let's make it a bit clean. Where we say, hey, first turn, if this game is not easy mode, then do this reinforcement. And in a normal way, if you want the reinforcement to happen in all modes, you will just write down dispos rank like this, what we have already written with Pedorino. But if you do it specifically on hard or normal or easy mode, you also have to include the _h or _n for easy or normal hard mode. We save the script file, and now what we will do is to compile it. Compile the file, open up our data, go to script compressed. I copy the EXL, the CMB file, I mean, that's the important one. So this is what we have like compiled to. Go to ROMFS, scripts, replace the file. And you see we have also now more data in it. Copy it, go to our edited ROM files and copy them over as well. So now we can give it a test and start Dolphin. All right, guys, I had to make a shortcut since I did like a little oopsie. So, what we need actually is this dispos rank. You can use anytime if you don't want to call out the specific mode. Previously, we have written here dispos rank as well, but the dispos rank doesn't like to be used in this specific case. You will just write down dispos, or there's like also dispos warp you can also use, but you don't use the dispos rank specifically for that. That's why in my previous, when I wanted to showcase it, Riz wasn't showing up. But that's basically how we can make it happen. I've already copied the files over, so let's start Dolphin and check out the Riz reinforcement. Here's the door brigade. So let's skip it through it. Player phase starts, and suck, Riz shows up. He's a fire sage, but he still has the looks of Riz since he still has his AID, and yeah, he has like a bit more stats. He has the maximum HP cap for a bishop, since we also gave him the extra HP. And now what we can do is like we go over here and attack him with a fire tome. Also, we can check out his skills. He has the fortune. He has also Chuff. Also, yeah, the shove is also like locked. You can see it over here, but right over here. So let's attack him, and now we see like also the animation hasn't changed, since the bishop can be actually used for any sages as well. Pretty fast, I like it. And yeah, with that completed and reinforcement event, with a little oopsie from my side, but I think it's like that happens all the time in hacking. Like sometimes you make mistakes and you just look up what you can do to yeah, correct this error. So you know how to make reinforcements, adds new enemy waves, you can do that, and maybe also new playables. But for playables, there's also some extra things to think about, like the army split and things like that. If you want to insert more characters in the vanilla Radiant Dawn, it's something you definitely have to think about. But otherwise, thank you all for watching. It's again a longer video. I don't know, I'm such a yapper, but I like to over explain. It's better for you all, I have to say. And I wish you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. So have a good one. Till next time.